Hey guys, I'm excited to bring you this partner stretch today. Obviously, you're going to need a partner, so this is a great stretch to have somebody you love show you some love, or show somebody you love some love. So I'm going to ask my partner to come out here, special guest Dave, and just have him lay down on a mat. Obviously, you can be just on carpet on your floor at home. One thing that's really important with the partner stretch is that you're constantly talking to your partner, getting feedback, making sure that everything is feeling okay. So if you'll just lay back for me, you really want to start by getting your partner to relax as much as possible. You want to stay relaxed in the stretches so that you're not resisting the stretch. So I'm going to ask Dave to take a couple deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. He's going to continue that for about 4 or 5 breaths. And on those exhales, he's just really focusing on letting everything just kind of release and drop and let go from head to toe. So 2 more breaths for me. And last one. Good. So we're going to start with the legs, and I'm going to have him bring his own right leg in and hug it into his chest. Okay. So once he's kind of brought it in as far as he thinks it can go, I'm going to have him release it, and I'm holding on to it. Hands on the shin. Does that feel okay? And I'm going to slowly start to put a little bit of pressure, always asking him if that feels okay. And if at any point it doesn't, just give me a little sign. So take a deep breath in through the nose, and on his exhale, I'm going to press just a little bit more. And I feel a little bit of resistance there, so I'm going to kind of back out of it, and I'm going to ask him to breathe again and tell him to relax on that exhale. And hopefully he lets go, and we go just a little bit further into the stretch. So we're going to hold each stretch for about a minute. A stretch needs to be held for at least 20 seconds, but the longer the better. Try to relax those shoulders a little bit. Might feel okay. And then we're going to slowly back out of this. And again, I'm going to let him kind of dictate his range of motion. I know he's a little bit sore, so I want to be a little extra careful today. So now I'm going to have him flex his foot, pull the toe towards the shin, and just lift that leg up as high as it will go on its own. And once it gets there, I'm going to let him rest it on my shoulder. So I'm on the knees. Just relax that on the shoulder. And just let him take a couple breaths there. And then just very slowly on each one of his exhales, I'm going to start to move it back until he tells me or gives me a little palms up or tells me when. Okay, so just let me know when. I'm going to hang out there for a couple breaths, and then maybe he's got another inch that I can bring him back. That feel okay? And then go just a little bit further. And all I'm doing is getting my body weight behind the stretch. Now I'm going to ask him to bend the knee just a little bit. And that's going to allow me to take this stretch back just a little bit further. It's going to change the focus to a little bit more in the glute. That feel okay? I'm going to start to bring it back a little further till he tells me when. Good. And then just taking a couple breaths. Noticing if you're hanging on to any tension, and exhale, let it go. Now go a little further. No. Okay. And let's just put a lot of bend in the knee. It's going to let us take it back just a little further. Is that okay? You feel that a little bit more in the glute. You can also come down to the knee here and just use your hand. And then with your free hand, we can kind of tack this quad down a little bit because sometimes that leg likes to come up with the stretch. Are we okay there? Okay, we're going to turn this into the hips. So we're going to take this leg out at a 45-degree angle, and we're going to turn that ankle in towards the body, kind of wherever it will go. Leverage your leg on the outside of his other leg, or her, and we're going to start to bring it back until he tells me when. Okay. So we're going to hold this one. I'm going to use my hand on the inside of his thigh here just to give it a little bit of pressure and open up that hip a little bit more. There you go, just a little further. Just notice these are micro movements. A little bit goes a long way. We're going to release out of that. We're going to keep a little bend in this knee. We're bringing it across the body and a little bit up. So I'm going to stand up a little bit, come around to the other side so that I can use my body weight. And then again, I'm looking for feedback. I'm going to bring it up towards his opposite shoulder until he tells me when. Okay. You can slide it a little closer to the floor, which will intensify it a little bit. You don't want his whole body coming with you here. You want to make sure his opposite shoulder, or that same side shoulder actually, is on the floor. Okay. Let's take a deep breath in. Exhale, soften into the stretch. Just a couple more seconds here. Slowly easing out of the stretch. You're going to guide the leg back down to the floor. And then just relax a second. Does this leg feel a little bit longer than this one? Usually it'll feel a little bit longer and a little bit lighter. So let's go with the other leg. Let me have you hug this knee in. And then once he's brought it in as tightly as he can, I'll take over. Again, just slowly pushing it in until I get feedback. Good. This one is primarily our hip flexor stretch. Our hip flexors are tight from sitting all day. slowly back out of this one. Bring it all the way back down to the ground. We're going to flex this foot, bring it up as high as you can. And then relax it on my shoulder. So when you do grab the leg here, you want to make sure you're not grabbing on the joint, but above the joint. Protect those joints. So I'm going to get a little bit of leverage here and start to bring it back. And that's about enough for him, so that's where we're going to stay. Just kind of noticing if one side has a little bit more range of motion than the other. I think this one has a little bit more. So after a couple breaths, asking if he can go a little bit further. Tiny, tiny bit. Again, micro movement. That's it. And we're going to shift the focus a little bit. Allow the knee to bend. Start to take it back. Is that fine there? Standing can be a lot of work. So coming down to the knee, using the hand. You go a little further. And now we'll put a big, healthy bend in the knee. Lots of bend, lots of bend. And how does that feel? We'll back out of that, create that 45-degree angle. We're going to open up the hip here. And then pressing in until he tells me when. Okay. So again, one hand is on the inside of the thigh here, just helping to open up the hip. You're pulling in your direction. And then the hand that's on the ankle is pulling towards him. I'm feeling a little bit of resistance here, so I'm going to back out of it, tell him to take a breath, and exhale, relax. That fine there? Start to ease out of that. Start to take it across the body, keeping that bend here. So I'm going to stand up so that I can create leverage. Go nice and slow until he tells me when. I'm bringing it up towards the shoulder. Good. So again, shoulders stay down. Once we kind of hit that end point, we can guide the foot a little bit closer to the floor maybe. Good. Now just a couple of deep breaths. Exhale. Let go a little bit. Slowly backing out of it and guiding that leg back down to the floor. How does that feel? Just as long as this leg now? Good. So now I'm going to have have your partner roll onto their stomach. We're going to stretch the quads out. You can kind of rest your forehead on your palms here, straight down. And the goal here is to get the heel as close to the glutes as possible, but really listen to your partner here. We don't want to force anything. So I'm just going to first just make sure it's nice and ready to go. And then very slowly start to bring the heel in towards the glute until I hear him say when. And that's about it. A couple deep breaths here. Exhale, release. And I just have a gentle pressure on his back here so that if I feel his hip want to start to come up to facilitate the stretch, I'm going to want to back out of it. And then bring that leg back to a 45-degree angle. Flex your partner's foot. And we're just going to easily go through some internal, external rotation. So that's our external rotation, a little internal rotation. Back to center. All right, other leg. Bringing that up. Having them relax it just a little bit. And I'm going to start to bring it back until I hear him say when. And slowly coming out of it, we're going to check the internal, external rotation on this side. And lowering that down to the floor. Now I'm going to have him come into a child's pose. Feet together, knees about as wide as the mat. He's going to sit his hips back to the heels. Just rest the forehead on the mat and send the arms forward. So if it feels okay, could you flip to the tops of your feet? Yeah. Just take a couple really deep breaths here. And I'm going to come down to the tailbone, place the hands on his lower back. And you can already see, I barely put any pressure on that, but it just helped guide his hips a little bit deeper into the stretch. So depending on, does that feel okay? Can I give a little more pressure? No, so I'm not going to. But depending on your partner, they might want you to push them into the stretch a little bit more. And go ahead and come back up to your knees and whatever comfortable sitting position you can find. We're almost done, guys. We're going to just stretch a little bit in the shoulders and triceps, and we'll be done with it. And then actually, can you move forward just a little bit more? And then what you're going to have them do is put their hands behind their head, prisoner style. Yeah. So up nice and tall. I'm going to put my knee kind of right in between the shoulder blades here. Again, you're looking for feedback here. Take a deep breath in, and on the exhale, I'm going to pull the elbows back a little bit. Tell me when. And just holding there for a couple breaths. Definitely sit in a chair to do this one. And just on their exhale, if they're letting go, you'll naturally pull back just a little bit more as long as you're giving it a little bit of pressure. And then release that. I'm going to have him bring his arms behind him, palms face each other first. And you're just going to lift up here, getting that anterior shoulder. Will that feel okay? We're going to hold there for a couple breaths. One more breath. And then I'm going to have him flip his palms facing away. Does that feel okay? I go a little more. And release that stretch. Final thing here, guys. I want you to take your right arm and pat yourself on the back. Reach behind to pat yourself on the back. So we're going to get a little tricep stretch. I'll use my right hand on the outside of his elbow and then the left hand at the opposite shoulder. And you're going to kind of pull them together here so that you have a little bit of leverage and you can facilitate a nice tricep stretch, a little bit in the lat. Does that feel okay? Deep breath in. And let's stretch or switch it up. So pat yourself left shoulder. You're going to see now the right hand on this opposite. Does that feel okay? One more deep breath in. Exhale, release. Good. And I'll add one more thing for your partner. Go ahead and cross your legs if that feels okay. We're going to do a little spinal twist because why not? I didn't really throw those in while he was lying back. So take a little spinal twist over the right side. Bring your right hand to the back of the mat. And then here's how you can facilitate this one a little bit more. You're going to take a hand to the shoulder, and then this opposite hand is behind the other shoulder. Have them breathe, and on the exhale, you're just again going to facilitate a little bit more of that twist. And back center. We're going to do that on the other side. Have him twist first. And then feel for the breath. Deep breath in. Exhale, soften. And release. Good. Make sure your partner repays the love. Just start the video from the beginning. It's my turn. I hope you enjoyed that. And until next time.